Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. Today is episode 35, and we are going to be talking about, are you sleepwalking through life? And we feel like this is a very relevant topic, especially now, and that we might have been stuck in certain patterns that we need to break. And I'm going to let Matt kind of start it off for us.
Yeah, I think last year was definitely a tough one because I think that we all could have, especially if you were working from home or doing other stuff like, as far as management stuff from a computer or even going to school or anything like that, you could definitely sleepwalk your way through that. You could definitely become lackadaisical. And I think lackadaisical is a term that's thrown around a lot. The definition of lackadaisical is lacking enthusiasm and determination. And I think that last year was an opportunity for all of us to excel in multiple different areas in that area, because I think that all of us kind of lacked enthusiasm last year because of everything going on politically, with the world, with being at home, being locked down, not being able to go to restaurants, not be able to go to every sporting event, concerts, whatever it was. We all became a little less enthusiastic around all our life, really. I think that it was an opportunity for all of us to kind of get a reset. I know that a lot of stuff is kind of opening back up right now, and there is a lot of excitement around that. And I think it's time to get a reset on just being more intentional and being less lackadaisical around everyday things, and getting your determination back, getting your goals back in line. And I feel like, there is an opportunity for us to kind of regroup a little bit and stop being lackadaisical and sleepwalking through your life, and be deliberate, set goals, make a plan, and take action on that plan. And I think that there is an opportunity for all of us to advance this year. No matter what is going on around us, we have an opportunity to win. We have an opportunity to get our goals back together and get our life back together and start heading down the path that we really want to head down. Because I know last year was a derailment for a lot of people, and we ended up not achieving certain goals that we set in 2019 or maybe even early 2020 because of everything that happened. So, and I know that there was a lot of things that we did last year that was, kind of outside the box, but, even starting this podcast was outside the box a little bit. But we wanted to make sure that we got the word out and we were able to start stepping into the things that we wanted to do. And we want to impact people positively and bring hope, healing, and peace. And we figured there was no better time to do that than at that time. So we set together a plan and we took action. And I think that that's a part of it. And we want to make sure that everybody has that opportunity to do that. But sometimes we don't even know that we are being lackadaisical and sleepwalking through certain aspects of our life. And I know that there's a lot that we want to kind of share around that.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, obviously with last year, it was uncharted territory that a lot of us had no idea what was going on. But I feel like at this point now we know better. And we do know what's going on, and why are we still doing the same things, I think is something that we need to evaluate. We need to be more self-analytical and self-evaluation and awareness, because I feel like it's pretty easy to get stuck into a rut or get stuck into some sort of routine that may not even be serving you anymore. So it's always a good idea to change it up and to really evaluate, what am I doing maybe on a daily basis, a monthly basis, yearly basis, that I need to switch up, because either it's not serving you anymore, or you could be having a better benefit by doing something else instead. Or maybe it's actually harming you, but you don't really know it because you've done it for so long that you don't really think about it. And you kind of just let the time go by. And then, months down the road, you're like, wait, why am I at this spot? I didn't mean to be here. But if you look back at what you did or didn't do, that would probably answer the question of why you are where you are. And I think it's important that we do change it up. And I know that Matt and I are probably a little bit more ambitious than some people, just because we are on the go a lot, and we are literally moving again. We've moved. This will be, let's see. So by the time that we move, because we're moving to an apartment, and then 7 months later, we're going to move again. So we're going to move twice this year. But by the end of that, at least for me, I will have moved 9 times in 10 years. And that's a lot. But I also came out of college, and there's a lot of reasons why I moved a lot frequently in the beginning of that. But we've moved a lot. It's just something we do because we want the next adventure, the next thing. We want to, change it up. And when we decide on something large like moving, we just act on it. And I feel like obviously that's not feasible for everybody. But in terms of bigger decisions, like it is, you can make a bigger decision in your life. It doesn't have to be physically moving. It could be changing a job. Maybe you're in a job you absolutely hate and you can't stand it. And every day you go there, you're miserable. I know this because I've had jobs like that. Every single day you dread going in the door. Sometimes you almost want to cry walking in because you just can't take it anymore. And the thing is, nobody's forcing you to be there. I know it's scary to not have the security of something maybe you've had for years, but there are other jobs out there. And if you've gotten one job, you can get another job for sure. So don't think that, oh my gosh, if I stop working here, I'm never going to find another job. I'm not going to get enough benefits, or the pay is not going to be the same. And I would argue to say that you're going to get what you expect. So if you expect to have a positive opportunity in changing your life, that's what you're going to get. And you have to work towards that. I think that a lot of people are stuck in situations that maybe they don't want to be in. But the main part of our podcast is to own your life so that you get to choose what you want to do. Nobody's forcing you to go to that job or be in that certain place or whatever it is. And that you have the decision-making power to change that. And if you want to be somewhere else, then that is your responsibility to do so, whether it's a job, maybe a relationship that you're in that's not healthy and you're just in it because it's just easy, it's just comfortable. I've been there too, where I was miserable in a relationship way before Matt, but I just stayed in it because it was easy, it was comfortable, it was familiar. I'd been with them for years. And that was not healthy. It was not serving me. It was not serving them in the end. And I feel like a lot of times we just get stuck in something because it's just easier not to change.
I love what you said there in so many different nuances. And I think that one thing that can almost encapsulate everything that you just said almost is don't let others who are sleepwalking through their life stand in the way of your awakening. And I think that, because I know that there is multiple people out there in relationships that are close to people that, oh, well, she does this and I do that. And, that's how we live. We'll see each other, when we see each other. I'm not worried about what she's doing. I'm doing my own thing or whatever it is. And now we're living 2 separate lives and we're sleepwalking through that. And, or like with the job situation, there is multiple opportunities for everybody out there. It just depends on what you want to take advantage of. Yes, a new adventure is scary. I get it. There's been multiple times where I'm like, man, this doesn't feel right, or this doesn't feel good, or whatever it is. At the end of the day, it's my choice. It's my choice to keep on moving through that company or moving through that next step, whatever it may be. It doesn't mean it's my last step. And I think that that's the thing is that when somebody buys a house or anything like that, they're like, I'm going to be here forever. This is my last house. This is my last car.
This is my forever home.
Whatever it is. And, and I think that sometimes we kind of speak things against ourselves in that sense, because do you really want it to be your forever home? Do you really want it to be your forever job? Is this the end game for you? Is the end game making 50 grand a year in a cubicle, working for some guy that doesn't really respect you or your family? Is that the end game? Like what is the end game? And I think that sometimes we start off a journey and we don't even have a plan for the end game. And I know that, for us, we have multiple goals and dreams, and, where we're at right now is not the end game and not even close to the end game. but that's okay. I mean, at least we know we're on the path. At least we know where we're located out on the map. And I think that there is so many people that are still just walking around, and they end up walking through their whole life. And then at the end of it, they're like, I really didn't get to do what I wanted to do. And, that's more scary to me that, I'm going to walk through this life and never own the car that I really wanted to own, never went out on this vacation that I really wanted to go on, never got to see certain things I wanted to see. And, and then it's over. And, I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I wish I would have done this, this, and this. But, I never had time because I was, watching a football game or sleeping away on the couch or doing whatever. And I never did what I really wanted to do. And I think that's more scary to me than just about anything, really.
I agree 100%. And let me clarify that we're not just saying like you need to wake up tomorrow and leave your spouse and quit your job and move away to Jamaica. Like that is absolutely not what we're saying. But to really think about it, if you were in maybe a bad situation or not an ideal one, or you've been talking maybe with your spouse that you've wanted to move for a while and you just thought, oh, in the future, we're going to go here. Why not now? Think about that. Why not now? What are you waiting on? Because time isn't guaranteed. And I think that Matt and I take that very seriously. And that is one of the reasons that we are making the move to Florida now instead of later. I feel like maybe I've thought that we would eventually be down there, when we're much older, probably, 30 years out. But we've thought, why not now? What are we waiting on? Like, we are not guaranteed that we're even going to make it to, next week. We all pray that we do, but there is no guarantee with the time that we are given. So think about that. If you've been talking for a long time, hey, I'd really like this kind of a job, or this is the kind of life that I want. Okay, why not now? Why aren't you doing that now? And you can scale it down to something that is appropriate for you in this time. So maybe it's not, having a certain house or whatever, but maybe the location is close to where you want. So do it on that kind of a scale. I think that that's important to act on the things that we, the goals and dreams that we have now to do that, to do it however it looks for you in this season. I think that's important because, like we've said before, if you're not working towards anything, or if it's just so off in the future, it just seems so distant, like you're never going to get there, that can be really depressing. And that can give you lack of purpose. And a lot of people don't do well with that, because I feel like we are made for a purpose, and that when we aren't living out, our passions and things like that, that can cause us to just sleepwalk through life, because there's really nothing that we're looking forward to. And it's kind of easy just to go through the motions every single day instead of, being passionate and being excited about every moment. I know these past couple of days, like I've woken up earlier than I planned on, but it's because I've been so excited about our next step that we're making here. And I've just wanted to get a start on it. And, even just in packing and getting ready for it, I've just been so excited that like I've lost sleep over it in a good way. So I think that that's important, that we all have something that we're working towards, and not just, sleepwalking through life.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there's, and this is no knock on certain states or anything like that. And there's no, because we've lived in the most incremental weather out there, and where you literally have to scrape the frost off your windshield and wear a parka in the morning, and then by the end of the day, it's you could wear shorts and a t-shirt by the end of the day. So there's no things against that, but at the same time, there is a little bit of happiness around where you're at and the environment you are in, and what makes you alive. Because I think that if you're like a lot of people from the Midwest, for instance, think like Florida is another country, and it's like, oh, that's amazing, it's the beaches, it's da da da. It's not another country; it's just another state, and I think it's funny because like you talk to some folks and they're like, they always want to go to vacation certain places, and they're always going to these certain destinations because it makes them happy. Well, why aren't you there now? And I think that that's the biggest thing, is that if it makes you that happy and you're constantly wanting to get back there, then why aren't you there now? And I get it. You're like, oh, you don't understand my situation. I got my job, this, that, and the other. Well, the thing is can you scale back your life and have another job and live where you want to live? Because that's an opportunity for you. Because you may not be able to drive the 7 Series BMW, but if you can sacrifice and go down to a 3 Series BMW and live in a little bit smaller house and live where you really want to be at, and you can be more creative and live in a better environment and be more healthy, what is that to you, at the same time? And I think that's the thing, is that there's always a way to get to where you want to go. It's just whether or not you're willing to sacrifice whatever you need to sacrifice to get there. And, for us, I think that we just we're so awake to how we feel and the environment we feel when we're in certain environments, and how it makes us process information, and how much more creative we can be in certain environments, that it just doesn't make sense for us not to live somewhere where we really want to live. Like, I know that for a solid fact, I will never, and I'll go down on the record, I will never live back in the Midwest. It's never going to happen for me. Like, it just doesn't make me happy. Like, and that's the thing, is that it just doesn't make me happy. I love the people there. I love the people I grew up with. I love my family that's still there. I love you all. Like, it's amazing. You're amazing people, and I love you. I will visit you, but I will not have a permanent residence there. and that's, you can take it to the bank. It's not going to happen for me. However, there is other opportunities for me that I will say that, I'm excited about moving to Florida, but that doesn't mean it's my end game. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't consider living somewhere else if the opportunity was right, if the environment was right, if everything lined up for what it meant for me to excel in my life. And I think that that's the thing that we all need to focus on, is that we've been talking about environment. We've been talking about hope, healing, peace. I think that sometimes when you're in certain environments, you just feel like there is no hope, and you are going to sleepwalk through it no matter whether you want to or not. And are you excited about the next steps in your life, and the next steps in your relationships, and your next steps in every aspect of your life? Because this kind of affects everything. If you're getting up and you're punching a clock and you're not checking into your life, there's a huge, huge disconnect, and a huge disconnect for you and your family. And that needs to be addressed, because if you don't address that, then you got a lot more issues that are going to come down the line. And we really want to make sure that doesn't happen for you, because we want everybody to be successful. We want everybody to win. And this is a time where you can win if you can be more creative and you can really lock in on what's the most important thing to you.
Absolutely. I feel like perspective is key right now, as if it isn't all the time, but definitely right now, that you can look at this as, wow, this looks like 2020 with just bangs on, or it looks like a time full of so much opportunity that we can take advantage of right now. This is probably some of the greatest opportunity. How many jobs have now switched to remote work to where you can live anywhere? It doesn't matter where you live. You don't have to commute to the office anymore. There's tons of companies that have gone permanently remote because maybe they realize that they're still getting the work done. It's more effective. And now they don't have to pay for a building. So they're making more money because they don't have the overhead costs that they used to have. So that is definitely a potential. Or maybe switching to a company that is remote so you can live where you want. Maybe you want to be remote in the mountains, like literally remote, not just, how we say it now with working, but like off in the mountains in the middle of nowhere, but you still have internet connection so you can still work. Maybe that's what you want. So do it. Go do it. Or maybe you want to live on the beach. Do that. Or maybe, you want to live in a big city. Absolutely. Go do that. So I feel like we have so much opportunity and possibilities right now, and it's up to us to take advantage of it. I think one of the problems is that we're always waiting on other people to make the decision for us. And that isn't going to work because we're going to be waiting forever if that's what your mindset is. I think that, it's great to have influential people in your life. However, you are the one in charge of your decisions at the end of the day, and it is up to you to make them, not to wait on somebody else. And I'm even talking to married couples, like, don't just wait on your spouse to make your decisions for you. You need to be able to voice those as well. And obviously talk together before you make those decisions, but don't just wait on them and let them do all that work, because they may never make that decision. Whereas if you had spoken up and said something, maybe you would have made the decision together. And maybe it's something they never even thought about. Because I know for me, I didn't think about living in Florida, especially at this time, but it was more of Matt's idea. However, we've both been to Florida together many times. So I was definitely not opposed to the conversation, and we talked about it and we worked through it, and we decided that that would be a good fit for us right now. And that's what we're doing. And we're both really excited about it. So I feel like, we need to step up and we need to make the decision and really, like I said before, evaluate, our surroundings around us and what is working, what's not working, and make those changes, accordingly.
There's so many different aspects of what Ashley just said with really waiting for people to say yes or no or whatever. And sometimes this is one thing that's infuriating to me in multiple areas of life. For instance, I would prefer an outright no than a lackadaisical yes. And sometimes see people are just leaning on both sides of the fence so long that they really just don't want to have any type of confrontation with you. So they're not going to give you an outright no. They're just like, yeah, I'll do that. And then then you have to go back to them 15,000 times and make sure they did something. And that's a problem with a lot of relationships as well, because sometimes we're saying yes to certain things just to appease somebody, but we're never going to do it. And you have to be able to have that conversation and have that communication with whoever it is you're in a relationship with, whether it's, parents, siblings, wife, husband, whatever, because you're going to have that constant communication. And I know that that's something we've been working on a lot, is to have better communication. And I know that that's always something that we need to improve on. But however, we're not giving superficial answers to each other. We're really working through the issue, and we're like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Because there's all different things that can be a what if, but also we also want to err on the side of, what if we didn't do this? What if we didn't move? What if we didn't buy this house? What if we didn't buy this car? Whatever. How would you feel if you never did this? Because I think that those are the things that we're talking about more versus the stuff that we used to talk about as, a couple versus, like, hey, do you want to go to the Olive Garden later? You know what I mean? Like, that's not a big decision. But, not that we love Olive Garden, and
we never go there.
Nothing
wrong with it, but we never go there.
I don't even know why I said that, but regardless. But the thing is that, are we really talking about that impactful of stuff if we're just literally going around the corner of some places 5 minutes away from us versus going, maybe 1,000 miles away from where you live at currently to move your location and change your environment and change your everyday thinking? Because we feel like one mind awake is way more impactful than 1,000 basically proverbial zombies walking down the street and just going to work, punching a clock, and going home and watching the next series on, Netflix. That's not going to impact anybody. And we want people to be more awake and more apt to take action so we can really make the impacts in society that we need to make, because that's the most important things to us, that we bring hope, healing, and peace to multiple generations. And we know we can't do that until one mind becomes awake.
That's awesome, babe. And in closing, I feel like one thing that's helped Matt and I a lot with making these big decisions and just making changes in general has been our faith, that we felt that no matter how scary it may seem or stressful, that God is leading us. And we do pray often, all day long. Well, maybe not the whole day, but you know what I mean? Like throughout the day we pray. And And we ask for guidance. We ask God for guidance to guide us in the right way. And I feel like with these bigger decisions we've made, we do have a lot of peace around them, even though it seems a little uncertain, what's going to happen once we act on it or once we get there or whatever it is. But it's been our faith that has helped us through it, because I know who my God is, and I know that he does not fail, and that where he's asking us to be and to do, that he is not going to leave us in that process. And that even if we're scared or stressed or whatever, that we're going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's always worked out. Even if it's not the way that we thought it would or the way we wanted it to, it always works out in the end. And we know that our God is a good God, and that he always will keep us, safe in the end. So we hope you loved our podcast today. Please share it with somebody. Please subscribe, rate, and review us. And until next time, own your life, because your life is your responsibility. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook, and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life, because your life is your responsibility.